So, you run an accounting firm. You're probably laser focused on two things, right? Revenue and clients. But what if I told you the real secret to boosting your firm's value, like dramatically increasing it, lies somewhere else completely? Well, stick with me because today we're pulling back the curtain on that secret. And trust me, it's going to change how you think about building your firm's future. So let me just ask you, straight up, what is your firm really worth? And I'm not just talking about your annual revenue. I mean, what's it worth to a potential buyer or an investor or even that new partner you want to bring on? The answer might really surprise you because the way true value gets measured, well, it's changing.
Okay, here's the core idea we're going to break down today. The common belief, the thing everyone thinks, is that your firm's value is a simple math problem, revenue plus your client list. But the real secret, what the smartest buyers are actually digging for, is operational excellence. See, it's not just about how much money you're making, it's all about how you're making it.
And that leads us right into what I like to call the great valuation myth. It's this really tempting idea that just chasing that top-line growth, just getting more and more revenue, is the only way to build a valuable, sellable company. But as you're about to see, that's a seriously flawed strategy.
You know, this is the part that's so fascinating to me. Imagine two different firms, okay? Both are pulling in, say, $2 million in revenue. Firm A is just pure chaos. Everything depends on the main partner, who's a genius but also a bottleneck. Firm B, on the other hand, runs on smooth, documented systems. A buyer looks at Firm A and sees a house of cards. They think, man, if that one partner leaves, this whole thing just collapses. And that risk, it gets slashed right off your valuation. It's a huge loss that's totally preventable.
So if chasing revenue alone is like building on sand, what's the bedrock? What's the real, solid foundation of value? Well, it all boils down to these three little words: predictability, efficiency, and risk. A firm that can prove, and I mean really prove, that it has these three things under control, that's the firm that gets the premium price tag, every time.
Let's get really specific here. So what does a high-value firm actually look like on the inside? Well, for one, it delivers the same amazing service to every single client, every single time. It's consistent. It's got clear, documented workflows, so there's no mystery about how the work gets done. And this is crucial. It doesn't depend on one or two superstar employees to keep the lights on. And finally, it can easily scale up and handle more business without everything breaking. This right here, this is the blueprint.
And you know what? There's actually a name for all this. It's called valuation-driven operations. The whole goal here is to build a machine. Think of it like a well-oiled machine where the service is always consistent, growth is manageable, not chaotic, and all that critical business knowledge is baked into the systems, not just stuck in a few people's heads. Okay, the big question, right? How in the world do you build this machine without completely burning out your team or your budget? Well, that brings us to an incredibly powerful tool, using outsourcing as a strategic lever. And listen, we're not talking about outsourcing just to save a few bucks. We're talking about using it to build a fundamentally stronger, more valuable company. Let's break it down. There are 4 really powerful ways that smart outsourcing builds serious value. First, it forces you to create operational consistency for all that repetitive work. Second, it gives you scalable capacity pretty much on demand. Third, it immediately tackles that key person risk we were just talking about. And fourth, the improved cost efficiency just makes your financials look fantastic to a buyer. Each one of those is a giant check mark in the high value column. All right, so we've covered the why, which is huge. Now let's get super practical and talk about the what. Which specific tasks should you be looking at to get the biggest possible boost to your firm's valuation? And this right here, this lays it out just perfectly. Just look at that first one, bookkeeping and reconciliations. You outsource that, and boom, you've just created a system of consistency and accuracy that a buyer can see and trust. Or look down at payroll processing. You standardize that critical function, and you've removed a potential headache and a point of failure. Each of these actions proves that your firm's core is stable and well-managed, which frees up your senior people for the high-value work. And you know, when you do this, when you put in the work to build this rock-solid operational foundation, something really amazing and transformative happens. You unlock a whole new level of strategic freedom for your firm. I mean, just think about it for a second. Suddenly, you can take on new clients without that feeling of panic, without overloading your team. Your best people, they're freed up from the grind to focus on high-value advisory services and building deep client relationships. You can walk into any merger or acquisition talk with total confidence because your firm is transparent and efficient. The big takeaway here is that solid operations aren't just about a future sale price. They build a stronger, more profitable firm right now. So I want to leave you with this one thought. Remember, revenue gets you into the game, for sure. But valuation, that's one with predictability, scalability, and risk mitigation. By focusing on your operations, you're not just managing your day-to-day. You are actively, consciously building a more valuable asset. So the question you got to ask yourself is this: are you building a business that's just busy, or one that's truly built to last?